important in understanding where your calmness comes from. So, I work out, I like to hit the bag, but Rocky does yoga, and she's doing prenatal yoga, and she really loves when I do it with her. But the yoga really is the best thing for my body, to stretch it out, to actually listen to my breath, But I also have, I'm fortunate to have a friend that's a therapist, so I do therapy. That, I want to make sure that there's a balance in my life, that I put a certain amount of time to self-care and also investment in my future, my physical future, and my health. And then also my mental wealth, knowing that I'm doing all of this for something. Like, war is for peace. So if I'm out fighting every day, it has to be for some kind of peace. So when I walk the dogs and when I swim in the pool, at least I can appreciate what I'm fighting for. And when I'm doing the yoga and hitting the bag, I know that it's making my girl happy, and I know that it's making my body happy. And at the end of the day, when I do all those things, especially when I'm too high and I jump in the pool, I'm reset. If I'm stressed out, I really, I hit the bag, or when I do the yoga, I just feel good about myself, because I knew that I did everything I could do to make sure I'm 100 so that I can help everybody.
No, I appreciate that, Dane, because again, I know the level of stress, that you could potentially be under on an ongoing basis. Being a person who's kind of spend time with you from almost sun to sundown, I know that it's constant, and you have, you've definitely found a way to balance this out a lot. And like I said, I've seen the work that you do, and I understand that there's definitely a need to balance that out. So I definitely thank you for sharing that. Armani Scott, I know you're on here, and if I'm not mistaken,
no, I can talk to him.
You are a lawyer as well, and I know, you're
Hello?
a sports agent. You're a lot of things, man.
Yeah, it's good.
I know that, you've gone through some stressful times as well.
No, we're good now.
I just wanted to know, obviously you manage, some athletes as well. Have you been able to pick up any tips from them to kind of help ground you in the stuff that you have to do?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think for us, what I like to do is start the days early, and having a routine first thing when you start the day for yourself is very important. So we grew up in a home where we meditated in the morning before going to school, right? So like as a kid growing up, it was kind of weird, kind of like an outlier, and kind of embarrassed talking about that kind of stuff in elementary school and junior high school, But then when you get older, in the real world, you sort of, the first thing I did when I was in law school was sort of go back to those techniques and those tools, because it started to help me get through things as you go through life. And even now, you sort of fall off the wagon, but then the first thing I do is I go back to 5:30 in the morning. I'm up, say our prayers, light a candle, and really spend some time before the day starts.
What was that panel we did today? What was that?
Sort of clearing and cleansing and thinking about and building up that energy. Because then once you're out there, you're bombarded. The guys that I work with, a lot of the athletes, there's no substitute for moving your body on a daily basis. Like the sister Latoya said, there's no substitute for that. Something else that I got into, we got away from, is a way to get your feet on actual ground during the course of the day or what have you, or in the week. Don't go where, we're on this concrete jungle. Don't lose connection. That physical connection with Mother Earth is invaluable. We are electrical beings, right? We're spiritual beings, and having this electrical experience, and the Earth, the polar connection to that Earth, is very necessary. So if you take your shoes off at some point in time during the week, as often as you can, get your feet on soil, get your feet in the grass, get your feet in the dirt, barefoot in the dirt. Does wonders, I think, to calibrate. So yeah, I'm big on, I give all of the athletes, all the guys I work with, I give them books. I'll give them history books. I also try to give them some metaphysics. Always try to give them something that works on their cognition. So yeah.
Who you working with right now, Armani?
We have some really cool clients. Don't do name drops. So NFL, we're working with Cy Jones now. He's a cornerback. some basketball players we work with now. We just started working with the Kyrie Irving Foundation. So we're legal counsel for him now. He's doing some really great things. Actors, there's some great writers and musicians who we work with as well in the industry. A couple of young people coming out now with TV projects. So
the reason why I wanted to make sure that to highlight you a bit, Amani, is because I do know quite a bit of what you do on a day-to-day basis, and your interaction with people is constant, and you got to figure a way sometimes to detach, because it's always business from the time you wake up till the time you go to sleep, and even while you sleep. So I know that you consistently try to find ways, and sometimes it's about just getting together with you and Dr. Small and just smoking a cigar. So I understand that we find ways to kind of balance that out. But I think what I take from what you just said, Armani, is that we got to do it consistently. And Shante talked about it earlier. It's got to be consistent. Or better yet, when you feel it, when you know something is off, it's probably off. So let's do something about it. So I think it's really important that today's meeting went the way it did. I think it was, like I said, predestined to happen this way. And I'm hoping that you all can kind of take some of these experiences and some of these conversations and these techniques with you to work on it throughout the day, throughout the week. I'll leave you with a bit of advice. Once again, it's not worth it. It's not worth stressing over things and people that you can't change. And we already expect that the DOE is going to do what they do. We know they're going to say what they're going to say. You got to find a way to filter that thing out the moment it gets you. Because I'm telling you, I am so surprised that so many principals speak to me about anxiety attacks and stressful moments. And I feel as if we can give them strategies before we leave, Latoya, that some things that they can just do, just for a minute, 5 minutes a day or what have you. So, Toya, I'll leave you with the final word.
Can I piggyback before Toya leaves the final word? Because I too, and I am no mental health expert. I'm not a life coach. I do not, I'm certifiably crazy according to some people. But one thing I do know is I speak to a lot of leaders of color, and we all have our own, not a hidden code, but we have a certain place, a certain box that they expect differently than us, where we have to perform 10 times more, so much all the time. And so as I'm speaking to other leaders such as myself, I find that there is a lot more of the anxiety and a lot more of the frustration and a lot more of the need, for medication. And so if for some particular reason, don't get me wrong, I do not fight with medical professionals. And if that what has been prescribed for you, my wish is always that it's temporary, because it is very, very tough. And I know, and Dennis, I know when somebody is coming for you. Mm-hmm. And of course, what a difference a year makes. But when somebody is coming for you and you can't sleep and you can't function, and then you're gaining, as Latoya talked about, all that stress in your midsection, and all of us, whether it was a COVID 10 or 15 or just the DOE 40, know what I'm talking about. But in particular, Miss Latoya, if you can, not that I'm asking you to fully disaggregate, but there is a certain level, because women and men actually harbor their energy and their weight and their beings very differently. If you can speak to those both sides, because for those sisters who are on today, I know how emotional we are, and it doesn't say that brothers are not emotional, but we as God's beings actually react different kinds of ways. And so if you can also, in your closing, kind of take that into account and see what our next steps for as a people, and as for men and as for women.
Yeah, absolutely. So, the first thing I would say is emotions is a part of our being, right? So I believe that we have 4 levels of our being. We have our physical, which we're very comfortable or maybe not so comfortable with, right? The physical being, but that's where we, operate a lot in because we move around and stuff. Then our mental, so we are going and getting our education and being professional. So those two, we spend a lot of time there. Emotional, sometimes we don't even know what we're really feeling. Our emotional vocabulary is very limited, right? So we use just certain things, and then we don't even know where it's happening within our body. And then lastly, spiritual. So all four of those beings. So our emotions are really just energy in motion. Now we've attached a connotation to whether if we're feeling happy, that's a good one, and we want to run to that. And then when we feel sad, that's when we don't want to talk about, we don't want to mention at all. When it's really just there to teach us something. And if we begin to attend and befriend it and allow it to just be a part of our being and move through us for a lesson of a higher purpose, then we can embrace that emotion a little bit differently. And so it's about the way we hold the mindset of what each emotion means. It's a fact that we are feeling it, and if we can get in tune with where we're feeling it, but the feeling may not be factual, because it's all starting in our mind. So whatever the story we're creating and we're holding in our mind, that's what we will see outside. Once we change our thought, now the situation may not change at all. It may look the exact same, but the way I feel about the situation will be completely different because I'm holding a different thought. So that's where it starts. And so for women, yes, we do hold different emotions because we're not. So we joke about this all the time, right? So when you think about, in the past, like when guys get together, they're going to go play basketball, they're going to do this, they're moving their bodies. So constantly releasing the energy. When women get together, we're going to go to brunch, we're going to go sit down, right? So we're not moving the energy. It's about just having a space of release. And that's why before I even got on the call, I told Dennis, I just love the idea of having this space for principles. And now that I'm on it, I'm like, this is so dope because we have to have a space where we feel comfortable so that we can reveal what's going on because we can't heal anything that we're not going to be willing and brave enough to reveal, right? So this is what is created here. And from that step, we can begin to release. So the releasing looks like just what we did today. It's very simple. You get to create however much time you want to dedicate to yourself. And like I said, start small. It's the small, consistent steps that makes profound changes. And you can do 1 minute every so often throughout the day, so it's a part of your day. 1 minute of just breathing. So when we just sat and we just did 4-part breathing, connecting to every part of your breath. We're moving so fast, we're breathing from our chest, not breathing from our abdomen. 2 inches below our belly button, 2 inches inside, that's our energy center. That's where we get all of the energy for the day. So remember, you saw the diagram creating that heat here. So allowing that part of our body to be really hot and activating it through belly breathing. Simple, quick, you don't have to buy nothing, go anywhere, you have it all the time, your breath. That's one great thing. This just jumped into my mind, so I'm going to share it because it must be a reason for somewhere. Somebody needs to hear it. So if anyone has issues sleeping, right, because usually we have issues sleeping because we're thinking about what we didn't do today, what we got to do tomorrow, and then we can't go to sleep, but we really are tired, right? So while you're laying there, that means all the energy is in your head. Bringing your energy down to your feet, like Brother Amani mentioned, that is absolutely great offerings to put your feet in the earth. But as you're lying down, you pretend that your feet and just tap your toes. Tapping your toes will bring your energy down to your feet so that all that energy in your head can go down to your feet and you can fall asleep. So if anyone has any of those issues, just tap your feet as you lie down. Just tap. And then it's almost like counting sheep, right? That scenario that people lived with us before, and you'll find yourself going to sleep. Throughout the day, another really great one is calisthenics. And this might be one like sometimes women are like, oh, I don't want to do, but it really does open up your chest, especially push-ups. That's a really great, and I know I said the word push-up, y'all like, what? But it really does help open up your chest. So it's very important. Remember, stress lives in your chest. All of these heavy emotions, they're not somewhere out there. They're living in your body. So we have to do something with our body. And anytime, so when I was younger, I just thought when people got old, then they just kind of got sick. I have a different thought right now. what I believe is that over the course of time, holding on to these emotions in certain parts of your bodies create your body at a dis-ease, right? Your body is created at ease, but then when you continue to hold on to your stress, you continue to hold on to your anger, or you continue to hold on to your fear, it manifests itself in your organs. And over the course of time, it starts to make it not at ease. So doing something that gets your heart rate up, right? Whether it's jumping jacks, squats, push-ups, that's really good. Just do it for 1 minute. That's it. Breathing, belly breathing is the best thing that I recommend. Not necessarily chest breathing. You do that throughout the day. And then, like you saw us do today, just stretching, neck rotation, shoulder rotations. It's funny because when I started in this practice, I realized, like, I love basketball. So when I watch basketball, I was seeing them, they get stressed. They just do this real quick. You just get yourself ready, right? So we know all that we need to do to heal ourselves. But the conditioning that we have gotten was to look on the outside instead of healing ourselves from the inside. Our power lies within. And now we're just tapping into that so that we can be our greatest beings, right? And so breathing, stretching, tapping, key. However you want to do it, whenever you want to do it, just do it daily, right? So because we cannot give what we do not have. We want to give this pure light and bright energy. Again, thank you.
If you want another amazing video with the one and only Dame Dash, check it out right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.